Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Student Senate. We'll begin, as always, with a prayer in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Recognizing that tomorrow is Veterans Day, and today we pray to end all wars. Lord Jesus Christ, you are called the Prince of Peace. You are yourself our peace and our reconciliation. And you so often said, "Peace to you, grant us peace." Make all men and women witnesses of truth, justice, and brotherly love. Banish from their hearts whatever might endanger peace. Enlighten our rulers that they may guarantee and defend the great gift of peace. May all peoples on the earth become as brothers and sisters. May longed for peace blossom forth and reign always over us. Amen. Moving right along. Sorry, I lost the agenda. Roll call. The roll call question this week is: what are your favorite traditions?
Baptism.
I forgot. Because I started off in Keenan, I'll say the Keenan review.
Orange voting.
Proxy, favorite tradition. I guess in Alumni Hall, we have our little competition against Dylan Hall. So that's rivalry week. So.
Madeline Smith. Here. Probably the alma mater. Daniel Skipperwood.
Here, and we don't have many traditions in Bomber, but probably the ping pong tournament that we just
Faith Woods.
Maria, I'm a proxy, and I would say the alma mater.
Nolan Lyon.
here and shipping up to Boston for a week.
Miranda Cologne. Colin Murray.
Here, I also say the alma mater.
Christian Coulomb. Patrick Gallagher.
Here.
Monica Barron.
Here as a proxy, I also say alma mater.
Bella Middleman. Here, I'll say alma mater too.
Here and Lugano.
Maddie Means.
Here,
Emma Epstein.
Here on Zoom, I'd also say the alma mater.
Isabel Karen.
here, and the big glass Christmas out of the stadium.
Cooper Scholl.
Here,
Benjamin Earhart.
Present. I like the alma mater, but I also want to be Richard.
Abraham Figueroa.
here, I would also say alma mater.
Valerie Kosabuki.
I'm here. I'm going to say Elha.
Mary Griffin.
Here, the first snowball fight.
Taylor Law.
I'm here. I would also say Elha.
Christian Yoder.
I'm here. I'm gonna back up first snowball fight.
Brian Kearns.
Here, touching the play like a champion today's time. Here, I'd say King Warren's game day banner.
Lizzie Martin.
Here, Midnight Drummer Circle.
Veronica Slevin.
Here, I would say Queen Week.
Elizabeth Gonzalez.
Here, and FJ.
Michael Chacott.
Here and loading before game day.
Zachary Cortez.
Here, I say safety standing.
Will Kennedy.
Here and sword secession.
John Bailey. Ava Downey. Mary DeVille. Here. James Burnett.
Here, and Dylan does a tremendous job around Christmas time.
Donnie DeLuca.
Here and do the Irish jig during.
Paul Stolard.
I really like the banner that Carol Hall puts up, but I'm hoping it's going to be Carol Christmas.
Jacob Flowers.
Flag Day.
Timothy Gallagher,
I'm gonna agree with Christmas decorations in the dorm, especially because we just like leave them up for the rest of the year.
Maddie Tupi,
Here on Zoom, the alma mater.
Thomas Davis, Alan Jomo,
If I looked at the question correctly, this is a new tradition. So, the first tradition is on Christmas Day, we house hop.
Okay, what?
House hop, like. doing a
House
Madison Nina,
Yeah, I too did not prepare a candy tradition, so my tradition is making gingerbread cookies with my family around Christmas.
Elise Spacem, Nina Selvin,
McGlynn Casino Night.
Kate McLaughlin, Caroline Cameron,
Here, my favorite tradition is BP's bathrobe breakfast, which we do on the first home game, specifically the year when I was president, and I woke up all of the freshmen exactly at 8 a.m. blasting music and made everyone sit on the quad for dinner.
Mabry Webb, David Holmes,
Here, Keel Hall Cherry.
Daniel Lau,
Here, first snowball fight.
Mo Doyle,
Here. My standing favorite tradition is the staffing of the Clark Memorial Fountain on Veterans Day by the Rockies.
Great. Hey, quorum. Moving forward to the approval of the minutes. We do have a special case this week because we continued discussion after having lost quorum last week, courtesy of the fire alarm. So is there a motion to ratify the minutes, including the discussion that happened after we lost quorum?
Motion to ratify the minutes, including the discussion we had.
Great.
Fire alarm.
Yeah.
The changes be done for ratification.
Oh, is there a change?
Yeah,
Great.
under general orders 5, section A, subpoint 9. It's just like a grammatical thing. Like it's repeated. It says the only company was repeated twice in that section. That's the only.
oh, I see.
So now it reads, the only company I could find of private equities Notre was investing in was Merit Energy Company. Good. Any other changes? Cool. Is there a motion? The motion is on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Great. All those in favor of ratifying the minutes as they're written? All opposed? Any abstention? Cool. Thank you very much. Executive announcements. We were approached by the sort of organizers for Beyond Green Dots who are holding a special training for us for student government, anyone in the student union, this Sunday and next Sunday. So I believe it's the 14th and 21st, both days from 2 to 4. Forget if there's a specific place or if it's on Zoom. Someone sees that, shout it out. Okay, so I'm not sure whether it'll be in person or over Zoom.
It says virtual in the info list.
Thank you so much. If you're interested in that, it's a pretty new program developed by students, moving again beyond the sort of individual bystander intervention of green dots towards a more structural analysis of violence in Notre Dame. So it could be interesting, at the very least, to hear from students and what their concerns are. But yeah. Sorry?
No, you're right. No, you're right.
Okay. But yeah.
So does this satisfy the green dot training requirement, or would this be separate for student government?
Sorry,
I
what's the
mean,
question?
that'll be it.
Satisfied.
Does it satisfy our green dot requirement that we have to know by January, or is this separate?
This is, no, that's not the same. I would say the curriculum is different. And that's not the intention that they had when the Constitution was amended to have that. So I would say at this point, no.
Thank you, Max. Any other questions? Yeah, you can, Ashton Weber, I believe, is the organizer of that. So feel free to reach out to her if you have any questions. Any other executive announcements, Alan? Okay. I'm trying to think. Oh, apparel. Last year, the Senate got crew neck sweaters. They say like Notre Dame Student Senate across them. Ben, Danny, I don't know. I think y'all got them. But I just wanted to put it out there as like something to think about if you all would like. Apparel, just like, I don't know, throw something in the Slack. If you have a particular idea of things you would want, cardigans, custom Crocs, I don't know. What's the new hip thing? Fanny packs, yeah, the Senate fanny pack would be fun. But yeah, I don't have a form for you today, but just like something to think about. I might get an interest form out next week or through the Slack. But yeah, just think about that if you would like something. Cool. Any questions on that? Fun. Moving right along then, we are in general orders, getting to the resolution from last week that was unfortunately cut short. Again, I'm going to ask for the resolution to be read. You know, we've had 1 week with it on the agenda actually. But again, just like making sure we're familiar, that'd be possible.
Righty, well, crossing our fingers I can get through this. A resolution urging the administration of the University of Notre Dame Duloc to ensure housing for transfer students in the Gateway Program. Whereas the Notre Dame Gateway Program has provided access to on-campus housing for sophomore Gateway students upon transfer to the University of Notre Dame since its inception 9 years ago. Whereas the University of Notre Dame prides itself on its hallmark residential life model as one of the most distinctive features of the university's undergraduate experience and unlike any other in American higher education. Whereas the University of Notre Dame requires its undergraduates to live on campus for 6 semesters in support of the importance of hall-centered community aspect of the Notre Dame education. Whereas relationships with upperclassmen and hall staff in dorm communities are beneficial for the professional and personal development of underclassmen when adjusting to the University of Notre Dame. Whereas admitted University of Notre Dame freshman students are required to live on campus and are provided the benefits of an on-campus experience, including regular access to the dining halls and campus activities. Whereas Notre Dame has offered an $1,000 stipend per semester to junior and senior students who do not have a requirement to live on campus, with a goal towards encouraging older students to remain on campus in the on-campus hall system to lead and mentor younger students. Whereas options such as allowing junior students to apply for an opt-out option to live off campus with the South Bend community, if so desired, have apparently not been considered and discounted. Whereas numerous commentaries have been made by students living in Notre Dame halls that there exist multiple unused and underused resident spaces that could be used to accommodate on-campus housing for the ND Gateway 9.0 students. Whereas in discussions with prospective students for the ND Gateway 9.0 student class, both Holy Cross College and the University of Notre Dame leadership publicly stated that while there has never been a guarantee of on-campus Notre Dame housing for ND Gateway students upon transfer to the University of Notre Dame, ND Gateway students have been consistently provided Notre Dame on-campus housing over the past 8 years. Whereas the COVID-19 pandemic precipitated increased enrollment for the classes of 2024 and 2025, causing a shortage of on-campus housing. Whereas as a result, Holy Cross College and the University of Notre Dame leadership during the ND Gateway 9.0 application process understated the likelihood that Notre Dame on-campus housing would not be available to ND Gateway 9.0 students during their sophomore year, despite later commentary by the University of Notre Dame that the lack of on-campus housing for ND Gateway 9.0 students was well known before the acceptance deadline for the Gateway 9.0 program. Whereas many ND Gateway 9.0 students turn down scholarships, grants, and other financial assistance from other colleges and universities to attend the ND Gateway 9.0 program, based in part on the comments by the University of Notre Dame and Holy Cross College leadership that there would be no reason to believe that on-campus sophomore year housing at Notre Dame would not be provided as it had been done for the previous 8 years. Whereas mandating that ND Gateway 9.0 students live off campus in unsupervised living environments during their sophomore year creates potential situations which may be detrimental to the University of Notre Dame student experience, may risk student safety, and may increase the risk of mental health problems due to social isolation. Whereas it is very difficult to become an active part of the Notre Dame residential life community without having the experience of living in an on-campus dorm. Whereas there is major disconnect between members of a dorm living on campus as opposed to members living off campus due to the physical separation and lack of communication. Whereas the University of Notre Dame leadership has publicly stated that all options to find on-campus housing solutions for sophomore ND Gateway 9.0 students have been evaluated and found not to be acceptable. Whereas University of Notre Dame leadership has provided no detail nor transparency on the options for on-campus housing for ND Gateway 9.0 students that were evaluated. Therefore, it be resolved by the Student Senate of the University of Notre Dame du Lac that the University of Notre Dame Division of Student Affairs and Office of Enrollment be transparent in the discussion and documentation of the remedies that have been evaluated and not pursued to solve the lack of on-campus housing for the ND Gateway 9.0 students, and further resolve that the University of Notre Dame provides ND Gateway 9.0 students the same unique and important opportunity for an on-campus housing experience as incoming Notre Dame freshmen.
Thank you so much. Take your glass of water. Any questions for any of the authors on this resolution?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say that this is a really great resolution. I'm just wondering why non-Gateway Holy Cross students, St. Mary's students that could potentially transfer to Notre Dame are included along with external transfer. Because I think it's like it says in here, like University of Notre Dame housing is like unique. I'm just like wondering why it's not like catered to like all.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I was approached with that question in the early stages of writing this, and our main thought process behind our resolution was that this is kind of the first step in that process, because this is in our minds a no-brainer, because they joined Holy Cross College under the Gateway program with the thought process that we are going to get housing because it has happened the last 8 years, and Notre Dame went back on that. I can't say promise because it never was guaranteed, but it has happened the past 8 years. So they went against precedent. I'll say that. So I think this will be easier to convince the administration. That is the main goal, is to get all of them to have the Notre Dame experience, because I know how valuable that is, especially for transfer students that haven't lived in the tri-campus community. But yeah, for now, I think we should focus on this. And if we want to write another resolution for all transfers, I would totally be in support of that as well.
Okay.
The second to last whereas clause, you say the university leadership has publicly stated that all options to find on-campus housing solutions have been evaluated and come not acceptable. Of what public statement are you referring to? Is this an email communication? Is this based on discussions you had with Gateway students? I'm just curious to know.
Yes, so this was mostly in my discussions with the Gateway students who helped me with this resolution. Robert and sorry, it's so hard to remember their names. Robert and Liam Redmond. They mainly talked to me. They have had many talks with. They've been in a talk with student affairs and also with the hierarchy at Holy Cross about what they should do, because what they told me and what they told us last week was that they got an email just out of the blue and during their classes, and they all had to step out and tell their parents that this happened. So with regards to your question, Notre Dame I mean, we could revise that statement a little, like they, like you were saying from the Campus Life Council, how like Father Jerry was speaking on what solutions they could do, and they kind of just like went away straight away from the question at hand. We could just, I don't know, we could almost take away that one and it be still send the message that we want to send, but that's pretty much up to you guys. We're definitely open to any suggestions on that.
Yeah, I'll get more to the CLC info and debate. Yeah, the only reason I'm hearing that question is because those last two seem to contradict each other almost. It's saying they publicly stated that they've evaluated these options, and you go to the next clause and says no, they provided no detail or information. So it just seems contradictory the way I read it. At least. As a follow up though, maybe this can kind of help answer my concern. Have you yourself been in any of those discussions with student affairs, or are you taking this information from just the Holy Cross students you were working with?
Yeah, I'm taking it basically from Robert.
Okay.
We're happy to be joined by Robert. Yeah, so thank you guys for coming out again. And one second. There's also a full concern about amendment. Is there a motion to amend the resolution or a friendly amendment from the author? Can ruminate on it.
Can I make that motion?
Yeah, you're an author. You can amend it at any time.
Okay.
The rest of your co-authors.
Yeah, I know. Motion to amend what do you say, to take out the second to last whereas clause?
Are all the authors okay with that? Mary Griffin, Mary DeVoe, Abraham, and Maddie Tupi. Would you be amenable to that friendly amendment?
Yes, I would.
Cool. Thank you. Speak now for holding peace. Friendly amendment. So, McLean.
I was just gonna offer Ben, if you had questions about the conversation with administrators, I'd be happy to yield my time to the two biggest instructors. If you wanted to ask, if you wanted to ask about the conversation with administrators, like they can take my time to respond.
Oh, okay. It might be more in order during debate.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, thank you very much. Any other questions for the authors? Yes.
I don't know if this is secret or not, but I already know it's supposed to call them freshmen. It's supposed to call them first.
No, you're probably
I
right.
just feel like
What part did I put freshman?
at the end, and then when the university made questions, like on the site.
If we're second in the result. Yes, Abraham.
Motion for a friendly amendment to change freshmen to first years.
Are there any objections from the author? Fun time. Vote is written, so let it be done. I think we got all of them. Anyone wants to double check my work with the control F, but any other questions for the authors on this resolution? Is there a motion to move into debate? Okay.
I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the question.
Cool. Are there any objections? Hearing none, we are in debate. Are there any points of debate on that? That.
So I will just present to the Senate some information that I shared with Daniel when he was writing this resolution. And this is based on conversations that Campus Life Council had back in late October with Father Jerry. Father Jerry came to Campus Life Council for 2 meetings ago we had. And near the end, he discussed with us his vision for student affairs and student life. But at the end of that meeting, he made some comments, he gave some information for us from his perspective on the gateway housing crisis. So he kind of started with some points of information. Current first year class is the largest at ND. current Gateway cohort is 95 students. That's the largest cohort ever. ND admitted more than 150, admitted 150 more students than it planned on into the current sophomore class. So those 3 points are all to say that there's a lot more students in the current first year and sophomore classes, including the Gateway program, than in prior years. This is obviously going to have that effect on on-campus housing availability. It's like Thomas talked about a few weeks ago when we were first discussing this issue. It's an issue of supply and demand housing. And on that note, Father Jerry talked about how ND is already short on beds in women's residence halls. So as a result, there's an undergraduate women's community living on Fisher graduate residences currently. And Father Jerry stressed this point that it's not exactly been an ideal situation from his vantage point. It also has the same issues of students not getting to experience a traditional residence hall experience. And the use of Fisher grad is not an effective long-term solution because it affects graduate students' ability to get housing, especially international graduate students who may not have a car, who may not afford being able to have housing that isn't on campus at Fisher grad. He mentioned that ND's long-term solution with trends in increasing undergraduate student populations is to build another residence hall. So just a few more points. When asked about it, I can't remember who, but somebody asked Father Jerry about the 6-semester residency requirement. And the way I'll put it is he delicately implied that there would be no waiving of that requirement to open up beds on campus. This, in my opinion, does not surprise me, that position. But I would agree that the short-term solution is obviously what is presented in this resolution is to give current juniors the opt-out option of the clearest, easiest short-term solution in my mind. I don't remember from that conversation if Father Jerry talked about discussions that student affairs would have with admissions. We talked about how this, you mentioned, I'm glad you put that in the resolve statement, having the enrollment, Office of Enrollment. So it'd be good to have them involved in any discussions on this in the future. And then Father Jerry made a point that I know David was at the meeting as well, and I discussed it with him at one point. He seemed to imply that Notre Dame would most likely guarantee current Gateway cohorts, the Gateway 9.0 cohort, on-campus housing for the junior year. That was something that he mentioned at one point. To me, that solution seems like a great idea now, but a year down the line, once students are already living off campus for a year, whether that's feasible or not, whether that's something the current cohort will buy into, I'm unsure. But he floated that idea. So those are just the kind of general points that he made and the ideas that he proposed. He didn't have any comments on discussions he's had with students. And to that extent, I want to yield some time to you guys if you want to kind of now the full Senate is here, kind of speak on maybe discussions you had and maybe specific like groups of administrators you spoke to. So would appreciate hearing the experiences in those discussions with you guys. So yield my time for that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Obviously Liam and Rob here, we're 9.0s. So we spoke to Res Life, 3 members from Res Life, Heather, Mr. Ratartha, Jonathan Ratartha, Heather Russell, and then one other woman from, I don't know, she handled off-campus housing and finding these. That might have been it. But anyways, the biggest, obviously it's an issue that, we weren't given housing. Again, we weren't guaranteed it. So, oh well. But the fact that they're not, we proposed various solutions to this. They, didn't say they looked at them. They didn't say, if they had any, why they didn't work. So it's just an issue to us that we're not, they're not responding to our solutions. But
yeah, and not only the students' solutions, but also the parents are coming up with solutions, and they're also ignoring the parent solutions as well. So we're thinking it's more of a student matter now because the parents have been completely shunned. There's a lot of outrage amongst the parents. So now we're taking it here. We're going to see what we can do.
And we went into the meeting and they said, there's going to be no talk about finding a solution, which was kind of surprising. But they were transparent about, you're not going to get housing, but not as to why. Yeah.
So aside from opening up off-campus housing to current Notre Dame juniors, I'd like to know what solutions you propose.
Yeah, I mean, we have a whole, students and parents all wrote a letter, like an open letter, to, Jenkins and a couple other people. And it lists all the solutions we have. If you give us a sec, we'll pull that up. But the main ones were, there's all these study spaces in dorms, that could be used. There's all these athletes that are living off campus, but are really sophomores and juniors. And there's some seniors who are even being paid to live on campus, and do 8 semesters of on-campus housing. So, and also juniors, there could be a lottery, where juniors could live off campus. But those are the ones that are on my head right now, but we'll try to find the rest for you to read about.
Okay. I just had a question as to whether it was expressed, like, is this a thing where no transfer students will get houses, like housing, like period at all, or like if there are open beds in male dorms but not in the female dorms, like can some of the male gateway students get housing, or is this just like you guys are not getting it at all?
We really haven't heard, but we have heard there are a lot more male spots technically open.
Just in general, I know Soren has about 5 or 6 transfers, not gateways in particular. Some of them are actually, but 5 sophomore transfers in our dorm, and I know at least of 10 sophomore girls that are looking at Fisher grad right now. So I think in general, it's like if they can fit them in, they will. But they just can't for a lot of those.
I have a question for the Senate. So, to my understanding, the root of the problem is that we're admitting too many. Well, I don't think too many people, but the numbers are larger than what we usually admit. So, is the solution for the university to what you understand that moving forward and start building like more residence houses that are cutting back admissions numbers, or is that also a possibility?
I don't think the issue is that we're admitting more people, it's that the yield is higher, so more people are coming that were admitted. And so the issue, which was also expressed by Father Jerry at CLC, is that they're addressing it on an admission standpoint as well. So that's going to be something that's going to be more of like, that's the root of the issue. But they're also working on having an additional, possibly another hall, which is more long-term, that's like 2 years in the future, in addition to trying to figure out like how they deal with, how the school deals with like people that are going to be transferring that haven't like even applied. Okay.
Yeah, so I talked to Liam and Rob about this after the last meeting, but I think this resolution is a very good first step at this process. But the main thing they talked to me about, they were like, so what are we going to do next after this? And the main thing I want to say about that is that the hope is that this resolution will grant us a audience with Division of Student Affairs and with the Office of Enrollment. And I think the point, what we need to do is we need to capitalize on those meetings and be very ready with questions that are specifically tailored to the problems, the lack of transparency, and all these things that we mentioned in the resolution. And yeah, I would love to have as many of senators of Holy Cross students as I can in that battle as we go along. But as for right now, the matter at hand, yes, please consider passing this resolution, because I think it will be a very good first step in the process of granting transfers housing at Notre Dame.
Okay, motion to end debate and vote. Second. All those in favor of ending debate and moving to a vote? Any opposed? And abstaining? Great. We are now in voting procedures. All those in favor of all those in favor of approving the resolution, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. The resolution is passed. moving right along, we have SO 212206 in order to amend the Constitution with respect to immigration. David, can you read this for us? Right.
In order to amend the Constitution with respect to immigration, whereas the Constitution prohibits the list of enumerated officers and civilian warrants for making endorsements in Article 15, Section 1G. Whereas the Constitution provides no way to hold non-candidate officers who's accountable for making endorsements through the election misconduct process. Whereas our scheme of endorsement regulations creates absurd results, including the fact that students may be endorsed by residence halls but may not tell anyone that they have received those endorsements. Whereas, as a result of this confusion, allegations related to endorsements comprise the majority of those received by J Council in the last two election cycles, almost all of which were without merit. Whereas candidates, many candidates compete for endorsements of student leaders, student union organizations, would therefore clarify a confusing area of election regulations and decrease the frequency of frivolous allegations. Whereas according to the results of a survey of over 400 students conducted by Judicial Council, the most common way voters learn information about candidates is through their peers. Whereas permitting candidates to compete for endorsements of student leaders and student union organizations would therefore also increase interest in student union, incentivize candidates to understand the structure and offices, and help voters gauge the merits of various candidates. Whereas the Constitution should nevertheless prohibit certain individuals from making endorsements in order to insulate the student union elections process from university pressure, keep all candidates on equal footing with respect to financial resources, and maintain the neutrality of decision makers in the allegation process. Therefore, be it ordered by the Student Senate of the University of Notre Dame du Lac that the Constitution is hereby amended as follows. Article 15, Section 1G8, as written below, is hereby inserted, and all current subsections and references thereof and thereafter are renumbered accordingly. 8, no student union organization, judicial council officer, member of the election committee, member of the Senate, apart from the executive cabinet, department directors, or university department, office, or official may endorse a candidate or ticket for office. No candidate or ticket shall seek or claim to have received any such endorsement. And Article 15, Sections 1G2 to 1G6 are hereby repealed, and all subsections and references thereafter and thereof are renumbered accordingly.
Very much. Any questions for the authors, David or Madison, on this issue? Nothing.
So the big changes, I understand it would be endorsements from like,
Sure. So numerically speaking, hall presidents and vice presidents are the biggest change. President-elect and vice president-elect are also a significant change in substance because this would allow them to try to shape their agenda by endorsing people.
Any other questions? Abraham?
I ask unanimous consent to move out of question.
Are there any objections? Hearing none, we so move. Are there any points of debate on the issue? Abraham?
I ask unanimous consent to move out of debate.
Are there any objections? Hearing none, we so move. We're now in voting procedure on the order. All those in favor of approval of the order, please raise your hand. All opposed and abstaining. Great. The order passed. Cool. Congratulations, David and Madison. Okay, so new business. It's been coming down the pipe for a while, but next week we'll be joined by Dr. Christine Conway, director of the UCC, to talk about her work in counseling students. Also, a quick plug for the new emotional regulation skills group from the UCC. The info is on their main page. I think it's ucc.nd.edu. Also coming up, I think ComCon has given us 2 new orders. One to revise, oh no, these are new.
Looked at the first one, we have
Great.
not yet looked at the other.
Thank you. Thank you for catching me on that. So SO 212212 will be coming to the Senate to amend HP. I don't know, Caroline, if you'd like to talk about that at all.
Yeah, basically the idea is we would like to take out all of the year scoring points and keep them specifically in our bylaws, just because there's a specific section specifically on discretionary points, but also just to allow us the flexibility, just voting within HPC itself, to change how the whole year scoring is.
Cool. So that will be coming to us, and then SO 212213. This is a repeal, I believe, by Christian about the award section of the Constitution. So I don't know if you'd like to talk to the Senate all about that.
Yeah, so we just take out that last article on awards, and hopefully the intention is to get into the bylaws and council bylaws as well, just to like maintain the constitutional framework of government rather than adding all this minute procedural rules and not shortening that.
Cool, thank you. I'm going to refer that to ComCon for review. So we'll be seeing that coming down the pipe in a few weeks, give or take. And then before this meeting, I was presented with another order, SO 212214. I don't know, Minu, if you'd like to talk about your order.
Yes. The shirt charity, the shirt project president, in the past, they've started their term unofficially around May. And the Constitution currently has it as November. So technically this president starts acting, if you will, before their nomination comes through FMB and then to you guys to Senate. So we approved grace before the November 1st deadline, which is great. So I'm just recommending, so it makes more sense and it's more useful usage of our, it's more useful of our time if we just reschedule that approval date to May 1st. So that would be effective.
I'm also going to refer that to ComCon. Sorry, I'm trying to get it in the agenda for you all. It should be in there under new business now. Let me know if there's any problems viewing that. Just going to ComCon for review of the text. Great. So any other new business that the Senate should be aware of, that we're working on? Hearing none, we can, Ben.
Oh, wait, sorry, did you just say, or is there anything else you're working on?
Yeah.
Oh, I would just like to mention, Christian and I and Abraham are working on, we're working on that resolution to recognize the need for priests in all residence halls, because as of right now, there's 5 women's halls that don't have priests in residence, and not only do not a lot of people know about this, it's also just kind of unfair and sad. So we're working on a resolution right now. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Can I ask for the unanimous consent of the Senate to move new business item B of general orders, given that it's only going to be based on given that the Young Constitution has seen it and approved it, and given that we have one of the HPC co-chairs, I think it would be amenable, and given you have a lot going out in business, it would be amenable for us to consider this now.
I would smile upon you amending your motion to just a motion, because we do need a unanimous vote, strictly unanimous.
Okay. I'll bet it is a motion now.
Great. So the motion is to move new business order 212212 to general orders. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of moving 212212 into general orders, please raise your hand. Any opposed? This is big. Okay. Because we didn't reach unanimity, we can't move. So, sorry about that. Any other new business that folks want to talk about?
I have a quick question. So the shirt project president, that's not in new business yet or no?
I just put it in new business.
Thank you.
You figured that'd be fine.
Question for tonight. Would we like to move that up to general orders? Get them that now.
I would not smile about that.
Okay.
Only because as it's written, it doesn't actually amend the Constitution. So that's why I'm saying it.
Thank you. We're successful lawyers. No.
Cool. Hearing no further new business. Announcements. Yes.
The Silent Night silent auction is going to be next Friday, November 19th, in the La Fun Ballroom, except at 9 o'clock. There will be Christmas festivities. Admission is free. There's an online auction component that starts from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Let me know if you want to sign up to bid. We have some really great baskets. Come support Hannah's House in the Mission.
Quick thank you. Fisher raised over $2,200 for stays at the car smash last week. So thank you for all you guys who spread the word about that. And,
And I bug you all with this in the Slack channel. I'll bug you all in person now. Keto cherry races are this Saturday, 12 to 3 on South Quad. Show up. If your dorm doesn't already have a chariot, let me know if you're interested and we can put one together for you.
Exalt is happening this Friday at Ian Stanford Chapel. It's going to be from 7:30 to 9. Franciscan Friars, the people are coming all the way from Harlem and Queens. So stop by, fire.
Alex. Just want to correct. Yes, the stand again.
Other announcements, David.
Next week, next Wednesday, November 17th at 8 p.m. in DBART 102 is a spring election showcase. All of you are invited. I know most of you are sophomores. You'll be looking at what you want to do in student union next year. Great opportunity to ask questions of current office holders. Would appreciate you spreading the word to your dorm. We'll have graphics in the student union Slack tomorrow for that, so you can distribute.
Yes, Kate.
So it has a million announcements this week. So there's Christmas Cafe tomorrow. I know you're all excited. Friday, we have 2 events. Our freshman program is hosting Caramel Craze, which is like, I tried to explain this during the exec committee and I'm going to butcher it again, but like, it's like Chipotle except with apples and toppings that are not Chipotle toppings on apples. So you like get your base of apples and then put a bunch of toppings on it. So it's not really like Chipotle, it's like putting toppings on apples. Anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's from 2 to 4 on Friday, and then we have a collaboration with BSA for Poetry and Chill from 7 to 9 in the Carey Auditorium. And then next week is the start of our Community Engagement Committee's Spirit Week. So each day there's a different theme that you can like dress up as, and there's a giveaway associated with a lot of the days. So publicity will be out on the sub Instagram for that. But the important part about Community Engagement Spirit Week is that on Saturday the 20th, they're raffling off or giving away an electric scooter. Now you're all paying attention. So you have to like participate in the week and like submit things to the Instagram to be able to like have a chance to win the scooter, but all of that will come out soon.
Thank you, Kate. Other announcements.
Senior class council is doing senior appreciation night. If you're a senior, you'll get it in your email. It has all the information. It's in O'Neill Music Hall, Foley's. It's like a nice night. Food, drinks, music, raffles, prizes, just a fun time to hang out with friends. Look at your email if you're a senior.
Go in place. Any more announcements? Great, your motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Is
there a second? All those in favor? All opposed? Abstaining? Great. Have a good night, y'all.
Um,